doing the rear brake pads on a 2007 Kia Grand Carnival, and I wasn't going to make a video to start off with, and I thought, you know, I'm here, I might as well. So it's kind of like half-hearted, but anyway, it's real simple. There's two 14mm bolts at the back that you got to undo to remove this caliper, and you can just rest that over here. She balances okay. Then you just remove the pads. You notice this side here doesn't have a brake sensor, low sensor, and the other side does. So you got the low brake pad sensor there, so when it gets to that low, it starts squealing. So this has got a little bit of life in it still, but since I was under the other side changing a wheel stud, I got stuck into doing the brake pads as well. I'll get the new ones in and we'll bolt that up. Okay, so the brake shoes going on, they're a DB 1957. These ones, the brand name is Caliper. I stick with these. I don't go to Bendix anymore. I had two bad runs with Bendix, two different cars, where the pads inside there exploded, and they just had like great big craters in the pad itself. And I'm like, well, what a useless pad that is when half of it's blown away. So I don't use Bendix anymore, and I haven't had a problem with Caliper, so we'll stick with these. And you can see the brake sensor there, that goes on that side. And I don't think it really matters, so take note, when I took this one off, this was to the front, and this one here, the sensor's to the back. Perhaps I should have put that on the other side so they're to the front. I'm not going to go for that right now, it fits fine, but it's a good thing to note for doing the pads yourself. If you've taken the pads off and you don't remember, the sensor was to the front, but like I said, it shouldn't really matter. The difference would be the noise it makes when it gets there. It's probably going to be louder being on the front, the spring part of it, where the spring's going to be pulling into the pad, so it's probably going to quiet it down. That'll be all it is. So I'm going to put this back on. Small brake pads for a heavy car, I tell you. And I'll just clamp that down. I'm going to squash that in. Might just go check the brake fluid level first to make sure it's not full. I might have to take some fluid out. Alright, well, you can see that the fluid is full. So if I squeeze that caliper, that's going to squeeze out. So it's a very common fault that people make. They bring the level up to max, making sure that all fluids are right, but generally if the brake fluid level is low, it generally means that your brake pads need changing. This time it's my fault because I did the brake bleed on this not long ago. Drained out all the old brake fluid and put in liquid intelligence brake fluid, and obviously once I'd finished doing the flush and refill and bleeding and everything, I've come up to the max line. What I should have done, the correct thing to do, should have taken notice to where the level was, and then I would have just topped it back up to the same level, knowing that the brake pads needed changing. But I kind of like turned a blind eye to that obviously when I did it, so I need to drain a bit of this out. I'm going to get my pliers, there's a little cup under here, and just catch that, drain some out, and I'll top it back up with some fresh liquid intelligence. Just bringing that down to the minimum level there. Also very important to note that if you happen to spill when doing this, there's a drip down there, I'll get a bit of degrease and just hose that off. But if you get a bit down there, brake fluid is not paint's friend, so you don't want to get on your hands and touch your guards or something like that, because then you know you're gonna have to wash it straight away. If you neglect to, your paint will start to peel over a period of time. It's not going to happen straight away. It's a Pantene, won't happen overnight, but it will happen. Anyway, I'll get into that caliper now. We'll put those pads on. I've just got the G clamp on there now, just going to squeeze that in, so save bleeding the brakes again. Just like that, all the way in. I'll just remove this clamp, put this back on. Probably the easiest brakes I've ever done, actually. Pretty small pads for this type of car, but I guess they are what they are. Okay, so I'm just going to do these tight of a spanner. I'm not going by any newton meters or foot pounds or anything. I'm just tight, It's as tight as I can get them by hand. That's how I'm going to do them. And we'll get this wheel back on, and then we'll go check that fluid level to see where it's sitting at. So the wheel's back on, and it's off the jack now, so the car's level again. Just making sure before I start the car and pump that pedal that I've got enough fluid in the reservoir still. So I'm just going to get that caliper, just going to press the brake pedal a couple of times to make sure that there's pressure in that caliper, and the fluid will come down a little bit here as well, and then I'll top it up. Okay, so nearly finished. I just ran the car, pumped the brakes, make sure that there's a nice strong pedal there, and now we're just going to top it up. Ever since I started using Liquid Intelligence, I won't use anything else. I'll just let that rest. Might just get a flashlight. You can see the level there, so that should be as far as I need to go. It's just not showing me the darkness on here as I was expecting, but if I get a flashlight and put that in the side there, I'll get a proper reading for that mark. Okay, see what I mean? You put a flashlight in there and you can tell exactly where the level is then, so I still need to add some more. I could probably leave it like that, but I won't, because I know that I only just did the front brake pads when I did the flush a couple of months ago, so the front pads are fairly new, so this will be a good exercise to bring that to the max level now that all brake pads are done. So that's as far as I'm going to go. Give the car a shake and see that level there. Because the car isn't exactly level, it's a bit twisted, so it's higher here and it's low here, so that's when the car sits level, but that's fine. I don't need to put more than that in. Anyway, that's it, that's done. You know, the brakes done, car's down, pedals pressed, or the car's running, fluids checked, we're all good. Alrighty, well, till next time, cheers guys.